So this is the beginning of our fabrication area. So the steel is going to come in this overhead door here. We will back the semi trucks up. The sheets of steel will be unloaded and we will store them on the west wall of this plant. So when you look at that wall, you can see all the different signage up there. All those signs indicate basically the different material thicknesses. So we put the highest usage closest to the machine so that we're less travel distance with the fork trucks. When we're done with these, when the sheets of steel come, what we're going to do is the first step will go into this Amada 12K laser. Now this laser is going to take a sheet of steel, we're going to nest what we need to do, and we're going to cut these parts out. So we have more than a couple hundred different individual detail parts that we have to cut. So we will load the sheets of steel in this tower. If you look closely at this tower, it has multiple, up to 10 different shelves on it. Those shelves all can have different material thicknesses, so it really minimizes the amount of time that it takes for us to laser parts. So this unit will take one sheet off at a time, load it in the 12K laser. The laser will detail all the parts out, and then it will move over here into this new part of this automation. This automation is one of the few that has been actually installed in the United States with this company. So we're really excited for this because this really takes the human nature out of it. We're able to actually stack the parts automatically so that people don't have to stand there and unload them manually. When this is full, we're able to bring them over here to this unique cart design that we've made. And what this is going to do is we have 6 different individual carts that all of these parts will be able to go into. So in old times, from what I've understood, is people take the parts, they stack them on carts, and they push them around. So the robot and the machine will do this for us, and then we can actually take these 6 carts and they can go 6 different directions if we need them to. So this is our second Amada 12K laser that we have. This one is still in the process of being installed. So the main laser has been installed. The tower just arrived this week, so we're beginning the installation of that. So in the next couple weeks, this part of the equipment will look exactly like the first one that we just showed you. So in the next, hopefully 2 weeks, the full machine will be installed and ready to start running. So all of these parts are actually going, when they come off the lasers, they'll come here to the press brake. So they will be in these carts. These are actually finished carts. We can unlock them, we can move them around. So these in particular will be staged. So we'll be pulling parts from the beginning carts and loading them into these 2 press brakes machines that we need to form the parts. So we're going to take flat laser parts. We're actually going to form or bend them in whatever dimensionally area they need to go. So once they're done here, then they're ready to go to weld. So right now we're standing in the weld cells. So these 4 cells that I'm standing around is the beginning of the arm, hitch, and link weld cells. This unit over here actually has 4 different fixtures can be installed on here. So a top fixture, a fixture on the bottom, which then this can rotate around, and then this whole contraption rotates all the way around to the back side where the robot actually welds. So on the back side there are 2 additional fixtures that we've mounted in this unit. So we take all the detail parts that we cut and we formed in fabrication, we load them into this fixture, and then we come out, we clear the space so that the light curtain shows it's safe to operate, and then this robot will, this positioner will turn around and then it'll start welding in the back side of it. When it's done, we're able to take a welded part, sub-assembly or whatever it is, and then we go on to the next part of the process. So this is the frame welding section of our department. So this equipment is actually being installed currently. It started yesterday on February 14th. It will take them about 3 or 4 weeks to install more than 10 different robot weld cells. So you can see all the contractors and the work that we have to go into this. All of this equipment came in containers from Japan. So it was designed in Japan, it was fabricated in Japan, it was sent here, and now we're in the midst of installing it. So over the course of the next few weeks, you're going to see a lot of activity in this area. All of these have welding robots for all the different locations as well. So there will be very little hand welding that will be required in this operation. So here we're standing at the final arm weld robot. So all of the parts that come out of those 4 weld cells that we showed you previously, all the detail parts of those are coming together in this tack fixture. We will load these in, we will tack them together, and then we are actually going to roll this cart down and we're going to load it into this robot. In there are 2 arm welding robots that will weld simultaneously the entire arm of this unit that we're going to manufacture. So it will rotate it around as needed so that make sure it welds all the spots that it's located. When it's done, This unit will come out, it will go down a trolley on this rail to the end, and once it hits the end of it, we'll be ready to go to paint for assembly. So here we're standing in the cabin weld areas. So all of the parts for the cabin weld process will actually begin coming from Japan. So we will store them all just to the west side of this whole assembly process or weld process. We will load the parts in the first cell. They will come here, they will be welded, and then it's a progressive system. So it goes from this weld cell, it moves over to this next phase of it. The side panels will be welded here. Then it will go to the third one where the top panels will be welded. Comes into the next one. So once it goes through the first 3 or 4 phases, the final step is the main weld cell for the cabin. So the entire cabin will be welded. So then once it comes out of that weld cell, it will be ready to be inspected, and then we'll install the caulking in there before it goes to our actual paint application. So here we're standing in our warehouse. So all of our incoming parts, most of them are coming from Japan on containers. So as we receive those, we will be bringing those in and processing them in this vast area here. So we have some roller gravity racks where a lot of our cardboard boxes will be, where most of our parts are going to be stored, as well as this open space will be filled up here shortly. So in the next couple weeks, we'll be receiving our first shipments, 5 containers worth, in fact, of components to be used for our first prototype and first production that will carry us from now until into August timeframe. So here we're standing in front of the first machine center that we've installed in our factory. So we have 2 machine centers that will be installed in ginormous pits that we've had to dig out and pour new concrete and foundations for. These machine centers are going to actually machine the weldments from both the arm and the frame to support our painting and assembly operation. So we're in the midst of installing the first one. Just a couple weeks ago we had it set in the hole. So now we have about 12 different crates of parts and components that need to be assembled on and around it so that we can make it functional. So here in the next probably 3 to 4 weeks, we hope to have this fully assembled and ready to start production debug. I'm standing in front of our future quality lab and office area that we will use for our QA department. So this used to be just a walk-through door, so we had to open up the wall actually so you can see the new framework. It's still being in the process of being installed. A new garage door will be coming in, new light fixtures, new ceiling. We're actually installing a hoist in here as well, a crane, so we can lift the heavy weldments up on top of the table to measure do all the test and measurements for those. So in the next few weeks, we hope to have this fully lit and ready to go. So I'm standing in front of our future assembly hall. To my left over here is our cabin and our arm painted sub-assembly processes. So once we receive them back from our S1 and AW paint factories, we will then start assembling all the components that are required to be installed before they go on the main unit down the assembly line. To my right over here behind me is all the other sub-assemblies. So the frame sub-assembly, the engine sub-assembly, hydraulic tanks, all those other components that go together to make one unit on the main assembly line will be assembled. Everything kind of comes together, and then they feed one main indexing assembly line here in our process. So all of our racks, all these blue empty racks, we just received those in the last week. We've erected them all. Now we're putting them in places and locations so we can make sure the layout fits properly. Then we're going to mark them on the floor so that they're in their designated locations full time. And signage, we just received the signage, so we'll be putting those up. So it really gives a good visual appearance to where things are, what things are for. So everything will kind of funnel together here, and they will begin on this indexing conveyor. This line is, in the beginning, will have 3 or 4 stations, but we have the ability to put 11 different units in different stages of the process all the way through till the end. So we're standing at the end of the assembly line, so when this line is full, the finished product will actually be here in this end station. It will raise up. It will raise it up. We'll be able to pull the cart off from underneath it, and then we'll lower this back down so the unit can actually be driven off, and then it will turn around and it will go up on a ramp onto an inspection facility line. So we'll do all the speed tests, lift tests, all those kinds of things there before it comes down off the ramp. So you can see behind this area is still pretty much open space. In 3 weeks we're going to be installing this entire facility, which is on the rails right now. I think it might be in Kansas City. Should have it in the next week or so, and then those 5 containers of equipment will be installed in this area.